Oddworld Inhabitants have released a short video on their Instagram account, which I think just uses footage already seen in the Oddworld Soulstorm PS5 trailer. However, it's notable because it has the dialogue of Molluck The Glukkon that hasn't been heard before. It seems to be his immediate line prior to what he says in the trailer.
Now I want your slick pals positioned all around this place, cause we are not letting that ape guy get away from us again.
So presumably he's talking to the pilot Slick, and the fact that he's given the pilot Slick orders, like strategic orders telling him where to position the other Slicks, well, I mean, he could just be casually saying this to him or whatever. But it could also indicate, as I suspected, that the pilot Slick isn't just, a working Slick whose only job is just to pilot this big blimp. He could be in charge of Molluck's security Slick forces. Maybe like a Slick general, perhaps. That'd be interesting. But it could indicate, at the least, that he's like a high-up Slick in some way. Of course, it is still possible that he is just a pilot and that's it. For example, blimps usually have like a megaphone thing, I think. Or do they? I don't know. Maybe I'm just making that up, actually. But I could imagine it probably has some speakers or something. So maybe Molluck is telling him, get your Slick pals positioned, and then the pilot Slick uses an intercom system on the blimp to order the other Slicks, presumably on the ground, to get into position surrounding the area.
It sounds idiotic, but that's exactly what it looks like.
So technically, he would still just be a pilot Slick, and that's it in that situation. If I did just say the Slicks presumably on the ground, I wonder if Molluck only has flying Slicks, considering he's flying about everywhere. Don't know. It probably seems like I'm extrapolating a lot of something so small, literally just one line. But there's not exactly a lot to go on, so it's just interesting to take what we can and try to guess from that and the information we have. The lighting of the shot seems to indicate it's the same place as the Molluck Returns clip from the PlayStation 5 exclusive video. Obviously it's in the blimp, but I mean, the lighting seems to suggest that it's that same desert place that appeared earlier in the other trailer. So, that suggests that this clip with the dialogue, I want your Slick pals positioned all around this place or whatever, takes place sometime close to when the Molluck Returns footage does. So, potentially it takes place after, but I don't really have a lot to say about that. But I think there's a good chance that it actually takes place before the Molluck Returns clip, and I think the information we have here seems to suggest this. If you piece it all together, it sort of makes sense, I think. Is Molluck saying, now I want your Slick pals positioned all around this place because we're not letting that ape guy get away from us again? The place presumably is a fugitive hideout that got burnt down. Presumably this line of dialogue takes place before it got burnt down anyway. It would make sense after all for Abe to be at this hideout, or at least for Molluck to assume Abe would be at the hideout. Perhaps when Molluck says we're not letting that ape guy get away from us again, he means he's going to kill him by burning down the hideout, assuming he is inside. That would explain why Molluck's irate and serious in that bit, but then seems kind of, in a lighter mood, making jokes and whatever in the Molluck Returns clip, after the hideout has been destroyed. Maybe he thinks he's killed Abe. Maybe Abe fakes his death. I'm literally just saying the first thing that pops in my mind now. But yeah, so potentially the Slicks that Molluck orders to surround this place, burn it down and try to kill all the fugitives that are inside. Potentially even Abe. It'll be interesting to find out anyway, and it's a pretty good sign that Oddworld Inhabitants are releasing this sort of thing. Stuff that hasn't been seen, or rather heard in this case, before, and I look forward to finding out if they release more stuff soon of Oddworld Soulstorm.
Hello, follow me. Yo.